There is a moment, and if you have watched it happen, you never quite forget it. A child, somewhere between 14 and 24 months old, walks up to a mirror. They have done this before. They have pressed their palms against it, babbled at the baby inside. But this time, something shifts. They tilt their head. They reach up and touch their own cheek, not the reflection's their own cheek. And in their eyes, if you look carefully, you see the first flicker of something enormous. I am here. That is me. And I am separate. That moment, quiet, ordinary, happening on a Tuesday morning in a hallway, is one of the most philosophically significant events in a human life. Because what you are watching is not just a cute developmental milestone. You are watching a self come into being. Philosophers have argued about the nature of the self for centuries, and the question they have never fully resolved is the same question. Happening inside your toddler right now. What, exactly, is a self? And when does it begin? David Hume looked inward and claimed he could find no stable self at all, only a bundle of perceptions. William James, writing in 1890, proposed something richer, that the self has two parts. The I, the subject who experiences, and the me, the object that is known, observed, and described. The philosopher, George Herbert Mead, went further. He argued that the self only arises through the gaze of others, that we come to know ourselves by first seeing ourselves reflected in someone else's eyes. These are not abstract arguments anymore when you watch a toddler stand in front of a mirror. What is happening in that hallway is not just recognition. It is the beginning of self-construction, and it is a process that will take years, one that, in quieter ways, never fully stops. So how does it actually happen? How does a child move from having no concept of themselves to possessing what researchers call a categorical self? A sense of, I am a person with a body, a name, preferences, and a boundary between me and everything else? It happens in overlapping waves. The first wave is bodily. Before a child can say I, they must first feel I. Proprioception, the body's internal sense of its own position and movement, is the very first layer of selfhood. When your infant felt their foot and understood it was theirs to move, the foundation was being laid. Long before the mirror, the body was teaching the mind, there is a here. You are located somewhere. The second wave is the mirror test itself. The classic experiment placing a small mark of rouge on a child's nose, then watching whether they touch their own face when they see their reflection, consistently shows a shift between 15 and 24 months. Before this window, most toddlers reach toward the mirror. After it, they reach toward themselves. Neuroscientists believe this shift reflects the maturation of the prefrontal cortex and the development of what they call self-referential processing, the brain's ability to generate a model of itself as a distinct object in the world. But here is what the mirror test doesn't capture. The self is not just a visual recognition. It is a narrative. The third wave is language. Watch when a toddler first uses their own name, then watch when they replace their name with I. This is not grammar, it is an ontological leap. I is the first person singular. It is the word that acknowledges. There is a perspective here, a center, a point from which all experience radiates. Linguists note that most children make this shift between 18 and 30 months. And when they do, something in how they move through the world changes. They begin to speak about what they want, what is mine, what they will not do. The fourth wave is the famous no. That exhausting, relentless, furniture-rattling no is not defiance. It is philosophy. When your toddler really refuses, with conviction they are doing something extraordinary. They are asserting that their inner world is real, that their preferences exist and matter, and that they are a person whose will cannot simply be absorbed into yours. Every no is a small declaration of personhood. It deserves, even in its most maddening moments, a kind of quiet awe. Now, if you are an adult watching this, I want to invite you to sit with something uncomfortable and beautiful at the same time. You were this child. Somewhere, in a year you cannot consciously remember, you stood in front of a mirror, and something shifted. You looked at your own face, and, for the first time, the face looked back at you as you, the person you now understand yourself to be. Your sense of what you like and hate, your feeling that your inner experience is real and private, the quiet certainty that you are a someone, and not just a body moving through space. All of it was first assembled in the years you have mostly forgotten. Psychologists call this infantile amnesia. We lose the explicit memories. But the architecture of the self that was built in those years, that remains. George Herbert Mead believed the self is fundamentally social, that who you understand yourself to be is, in large part, a mirror of how you were seen. Your first sense of self was formed in the gaze of the adults around you. Their faces were your earliest mirrors. Their words were the first labels placed on the person you were becoming. Think about which labels stuck. The quiet one, the wild one, the difficult one, the smart one. Many of the narratives you carry about yourself today, the ones that feel most natural, most true, were first spoken out loud by someone else, about a small child who had no choice but to begin believing them. So what does a forming identity need? First, it needs witnessing. The toddler who is developing a self needs to have that self reflected back accurately, not performed, not corrected, seen. This is why toddlers repeat their own names constantly. Why they insist you watch them do things. The request, watch me, watch me, watch me, is not attention-seeking in the pejorative sense. It is an identity request. Confirm that I exist, that I am real, that you see me. Second, it needs safety to be negative. The child whose no is always crushed, who learns early that their will is an inconvenience, does not become a child without preferences. They become a child who learns that their preferences must be hidden. The self does not disappear, it goes underground. And underground selves, in adults, have long and complicated histories. Third, it needs labels that expand rather than constrain. William James wrote that the self includes everything a person claims as their own. When we label a toddler, she's my shy one, he's just not academic, she's always been difficult. We are not describing a fixed truth. We are handing a child a story about themselves before they have the language to argue with it. Labels can become load-bearing walls in a self still under construction. This does not mean every word is catastrophic. It means your words, in these years, carry unusual weight. Praise that describes a fixed trait, you are so smart, teaches a child that intelligence is something you have, not something you do. Praise that describes a process you kept trying even when it was hard, teaches a child that they are a person with agency. The self being built will use your words as scaffolding. There is a person coming into being in your home right now, not a project, not a phase, not a behavior problem to manage. A person complete with inner experience, genuine preferences, an emerging sense of their own continuity through time, and the extraordinary, fragile task of assembling a self out of everything they observe, feel, and are told. The self that is forming in these years will carry forward. The child who is told their anger is too much will become an adult who distrusts their own intensity. The child whose curiosity is honored will become an adult who reaches toward the world. The child who was truly seen even when inconvenient, even when loud, even in the full mess of toddlerhood, will carry inside them the deepest knowledge a human being can have. I am real. I was here, and someone knew it. You are not just raising a child. You are witnessing the emergence of a self. And that is one of the most significant things a human being can do for another.